17th meeting of the Tree Preservation and Planning Committee. Heidi couldn't be here today, so I'm just sitting in for her, and Gabby's going to cue me because this is not my day job. So anyway, so we don't have to take a roll call, right? Because we have a quorum. So we'll commence, we'll start with the agenda. So that's you want to fix that?
So we only have the minutes for November 4th.
Oh, okay.
The minutes from November 13th, I should have the draft on Thursday.
Okay.
So we're gonna be a little bit behind with the minutes just because of the number of meetings we have and the time of our
Okay, I thought it
recording.
was a typo, but I was wrong. Okay. All right, so first order on our agenda is to approve the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review them? Are there any comments or questions or clarifications? So can I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
passed, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Woo! Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is discuss the meeting for Wednesday. And so Gabby's put the slides, the draft slides into the packet. I hope everyone had a chance to do a review of them. And so we'll just go one by one. Maybe we can go through quickly so we can see the progression, and then we can go back and see if we want to add anything or edit anything, or, I had a few thoughts that I had previously shared, and I'm sure other people have thoughts as well. So, and I'm assuming that Heidi's going to be narrating or,
Yeah.
running this. So I won't try to be
Yeah.
Heidi,
Yeah.
but so I won't go through it. But we'll start out with just the format for the day. Remember, we're doing open mic rather than breakout tables. So we have 45 minutes allocated to the presentation of these slides, basically. And then we're gonna spend any time from 8 o'clock until whenever with the open mic for comments. I'm a little concerned about how many people we're gonna get. I'm sure everyone's probably feeling that way with all the meetings in town and all the everything, but still worth doing, obviously.
One
And
thing we had talked about last time was we can also post the meeting recording after.
yeah,
And if there's prompts we want to give people,
yeah,
because we don't have that right now. Like the last meeting you folks had, there was an option for people to submit comments to the town manager's office.
yeah.
And we didn't do that intentionally this time, knowing that after this we'll have the meeting recording, and maybe there's specific things that you want to request feedback on.
Yes.
So we can,
General.
yeah,
Yes.
so there's more ways that we can make sure that this is viewed.
Yes.
Because
So how soon do you think we'll be able to post it?
usually we get the recordings in just a couple days, so it could be like by the end of the week.
So we
have the
could post it
recording, yeah.
and then put out, so we could post it and then at our next board committee meeting, we could come up with questions, and then how do we get those questions out to the public? That's, I guess,
Yeah.
kind of the question.
Yes, yeah, your next meeting is December 1st, I believe.
Mhm.
So yeah, we can definitely do it that way. We'll have the recording definitely by then. And hopefully the minutes as well. So we can go through questions that you want to ask.
Mhm.
And I can work with Amy to get those out to folks too, so she'll get it through all the channels.
Okay. Okay, so looking forward to it. And we'll start by reviewing what our mandate is, or our purpose, as defined in the beginning of our introductory packet and outlined from the previous committees, our charge. And now number 6, is that taken from the,
Yeah, from the
is that
website.
confusing for to be, taken out of context like that?
I think Heidi was going to share that there's a number of things that are within the charge, including, education, recommendations to select board, but that we're just focusing this evening on this bylaw.
Okay.
So I think that's why the number 6, but if people feel like they'd like to change it, I'm happy to make
Well,
note of
if
that.
anything else, just explain that this is, that there are additional. The charge is fully described.
Yeah, on the website. Yeah.
This is number 6. Just so.
Or reference the source, maybe reference the source where the number 6 is.
Mhm. Well, later on in the
And-
presentation, we have like an opportunity to show the website and, you know,
Mhm.
where, or we could do it up front actually, but
Yeah.
later on, we could put the website on, which shows our charges and things like that. So, yeah,
You could put it in.
Yeah,
could put it here.
Just put a
Just
slide
the
in the
source.
picture of the.
Mhm.
Then she can talk to.
Mhm.
right. Because remember, the slides are gonna be public later and people need to understand the context of the
Yeah,
number
that's
6.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it seems a little out of context, just like this right now, without,
Give Heidi that feedback.
Or you could have charges 1 through 5 in smaller print
Mhm.
above this.
Mhm.
You know, bold this.
Mhm.
You can just also have just the topic, today's book.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's like, I think that's a shorter,
Fewer words.
yes. a shorter one.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I will give that feedback. This is the next.
We call it committee time, or just.
Yeah, or, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too, that it's not, you know, this is just a subset of the work that we're doing. So it's really kind of like milestones or something, important milestones, because, you know, it's talking about the beginning and the end, and there's a lot more that's going on in between, you know, than these 4 stovepipes or whatever you want to call them, arrows. So,
Committee milestones.
milestones, I think, maybe.
Okay.
Or major milestones or something like that. Because we have minor milestones,
Yeah,
something like that.
aren't milestones major by definition?
So so are there quarter milestones?
Exactly, let's not, let's not confuse. Oh, wait, what are the minor?
Because the right on the front page of the Preservation and Planning Committee is all of those 1 through, it's, you know, so you could put the whole webpage 1 through 11. And number 6 is the one that was
Mhm.
the one that Heidi put up there.
So you think show that as a screenshot?
Yeah,
of the
I'm
page?
wondering if you can shrink it down, I mean, it seems like it's too big to really get a sense of the whole web page in a screenshot.
Yeah.
But maybe
But maybe it's just showing the top and saying like to read the full
Yeah.
charge.
I mean, this is when later on when you're showing how to sign up for the newsletter, this is kind of what I really would love to be able
On
to
this
point
side.
people to these sidebars on the website, but I'm getting ahead.
Okay. Okay.
View the committee. I thought this was good. Does anybody have anything
Yeah.
else?
it's perfect.
Fine.
Nice photos.
Yeah, who took those photos? Did you take them?
I had great models.
I love the way the tablecloth popped.
I know, it looks great.
Do we do 17 communities?
So that's the total number of communities for all the material that was reviewed. So like including the summary that was done by the town manager's office. I think that was 12 committees, 12 communities. And then there was another 5 additional from individual outreach to those respective communities. And then that also includes some of the communities that were in the prior investigation by the town manager's staff groups. So all of those materials have been brought to this committee to review so far.
I think we want to add to date to that because there'll likely be more research afterwards.
You mean
Going
for
forward.
for the
Committee
title?
research to date, right? We still have more research to do.
I don't know if this is the right time, but I was wondering about the review of the review of the building department permit process. There was some data that was gonna come about the number of tear
Yeah.
downs per year. the number-
Yes.
And in case we get questions on that, that'd be nice to have. I don't know if we can get it by Wednesday, but
I do
I
have
can
that
tell you what it
information.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, large,
Sure.
you're talking about just the large houses, or we're talking about?
No,
it
he said there were like 32 and we knew there were more than
Tear down?
32 tear downs.
sounds like it might be poker game, I said it was up to 200
Yeah.
tear downs.
No.
Yeah, we talked about it at our,
There's a lot, there's a lot of.
It's
Information.
Right,
was
60 to
67
65 in the last
since
couple
the
years,
last-
was at
yeah.
about 75 earlier in the 2020. So
So
it's-
demolition.
This is tear downs, new build, new construction.
Okay, all right. So that's good. I just wanted that we have some numbers
Yeah.
to give people that.
Yeah, I'm putting
60 to
together
80
a
sounds
summary
good.
of the permit information and then some of the permit fee information as well, because I know that had come up, but I don't have everything together yet. But we have that permit information from the building department so far for new construction and demolition permits for the last 5 years. Yeah, I just need the permit fee piece.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts for this slide?
Didn't we also, or some did more detailed dive into like various Charles River watershed? And like basic tree education, that might be.
yeah,
I
we
think
did in the
helpful to put in
beginning.
there.
We reviewed the tree manual or the
nice to
tree, the state tree. Ed can tell us what we
So I mean, we
reviewed.
could do it pretty general, I mean, we could let Ed chime in, but we could do something like, we don't need to get detailed, but just, examination of, tree, I'm not, Ed can chime in, and watershed.
You're muted,
Okay.
Ed.
Or
I think it was the Charles River Watershed Association, and they were going to do a presentation early in the committee research, and I think they still want to do that. So, but we could call that out. I think that's good.
Yeah, there were in the first packet, there was another tree regulations for Massachusetts or something like that.
did
I
you
can
do a
look.
presentation, Ed? That was about
Oh,
like
yeah.
trees in
Yeah.
Needham and what kind of rules we follow for public shade trees. right now.
PCR tree bylaw guide.
I'm not sure.
Okay. I
This
can
is what we
look
read.
at Guide to local tree bylaws for communities, Massachusetts. Oh, okay. so
PCR
that was from
Publication.
a packet. Okay. All right, I can definitely throw that in there.
And that was long.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to call out on here?
I'm just grammatic, what is similarly situated? I kind of know what it means, but what are we trying to say there?
I
We
think,
can't say neighbor because they're not all neighbors,
yeah,
but what we often say peer communities.
Mhm.
Is that fair to say, or I'm just, this is similar situated, is like,
Communities with similar conditions.
yeah, that's the language that was used in the last tree memo that the
Fine.
town manager's office put out,
Fine.
but I don't
I
have strong
won't, I'm
feelings
not,
about it.
I'm not quoting, yeah, it's just.
Okay. Okay,
This is an excellent,
Yeah, I love this slide.
yeah.
Kudos to you.
Kitty had some very particular ideas about what to include for these slides, so these ones are more like eye-catching numbers and graphics to hopefully draw people in.
Mhm.
And
And they're timely, right? We talk about stormwater, the town's working on that. We talk about energy, energy use. I just think it's good information. The value of tree, I think these are great slides.
Would you flip them?
to start with,
Yes, to
This
the
one?
value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's more general,
Yeah.
that's very specific.
that's a good suggestion.
there's also a lot more that could be thrown on these, like,
Well, I was gonna say, if anything, don't take them off, or at least make some of the writing bigger.
yeah.
Especially on the tree diagram on the. But again, that's.
Yeah, I
nitpicking.
think
It's
this is just
nitpicking.
like as a nice reminder why we're all
Yeah.
putting the effort in,
Yeah,
because it's not just,
start with that
we're
easy.
disgruntled. or-
And hopefully
Yeah, good.
Heidi's gonna, the best part about all this are the sources, right? So many times information is
Mhm.
put forward without sources these days, Thank God for sources.
Okay, so you think flip this one
Yeah.
to be before?
Yeah, it's a softball.
Okay. Flip to first, okay, gotcha. Okay.
I like it simple. Ed,
I'd just like to add that, I've only been part of DPW for 15 years, but the town of Needham has planted trees for the community for over 100 years. There's not many communities that have that legacy of like setback plantings for free, kind of like what Kurt and I just did the other day on Warren Street. But the commitment of the town to planting front yards and like having that urban canopy is very unique to Needham. It should be called out because that legacy of DPW, I mean, I can't say enough. The trees that we see today are the works of DPW for the most part. That program in and of itself has been wildly successful and a model that should be shared across the country. So that's all. Maybe some words to that.
Yeah,
where do we put
Maybe
that? Its
that's
own
the-
slide or?
So,
yeah, I think,
so maybe,
Needham's legacy.
well, maybe
yeah, maybe.
in the first bullet that says private tree canopy.
Sorry.
Where are we?
This one?
Right there.
Oh,
Maybe we under that one, continue,
Make it a second bullet.
make it a second bullet under that, because that's private tree canopy, but then, and also
Continue 100-year.
continue our
100-year commitment to.
I kind of like Erica's
to-
idea to make a whole nother slide about Needham's tree legacy. And to,
It's kind of in the same category as the value of trees.
Right.
If there's a.
So maybe-
Then do it after value.
Yeah,
too.
a bylaw on it.
Right.
it's-
Okay,
and it sets up for why, the dissonance between the
Pictures.
value of the town.
Yeah.
Problem that's happening.
Can you give us a really good photo, Ed, or?
Of course.
Good photos. So, yeah, so.
Kurt and I the other
One of the two handsome guys standing.
Yeah.
day. You're one handsome guy. Yeah, you.
That's it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point because I mean, I think want to know that they're not alone. you
Well,
know?
no, and that also
town's in this one.
elaborates on the partnership between the town and.
Developers,
The community, so I think I like that.
I like that a lot.
Do you want a picture of the?
I
We are
think we
gonna
share
do
these
that.
community priorities, you know.
I
You guys
think so.
really wanna lean into the tree thing. Bought our house, it's a big oak tree, circle.
It's one of the reasons I bought my last house. It had all these old oak trees, even though I had to take one down.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
I still had more than I could handle.
Yeah, that, people were really
Yeah, we,
interested.
we name our trees, so Joan of Arc is the sugar maple.
I'll,
So you also, you know, that's fine.
yeah, so I'll make a new,
Right. I
new,
like that.
new slide before this. Will you send me the photo, Ed, of you and Kurt? And then, do you have a photo of the Tree City sign? Are those in your office? think I walked by that.
Yeah, we take it every year when we do Arbor Day with the kids at school, so I can show you last year's picture with us and
Yeah,
kids, yeah.
that would be great. Okay,
Yes,
thank
Good
you.
suggestions.
you're welcome. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Oh,
thank you.
excellent.
Anything for this slide?
So you can leave this.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it
Yeah,
simple.
simple.
It's really what, not when will it apply, but when will it be triggered or something. I don't know what the right wording is. What
What
will
triggers?
trigger the bylaw or, because it always applies.
What circumstances, if you, I mean, I think triggers for the bylaw could be just the title.
Okay.
But if.
The title is, it's triggering. It is.
Well, that was the
The
word.
word bylaw is triggering.
Or what actions require.
No, because it's different, right? Like it's literally like. It sets in motion the bylaw if you do, because we talked a lot about, so. It has
So
to be
why can't
something-
we leave a?
Cause it doesn't have to be when. I think you were concerned because it's always in place.
It's always in place, but it's
What will trigger the bylaw?
what will trigger
So
the,
what?
Trigger the bylaw.
what action, yeah. Something like that. It's not really trigger the bylaw, it's trigger the bylaw requirements or something, you know? It
Yeah,
needs,
what is it? Well, we'll initiate an application. Tree by law.
I think-
I know, we're it's all,
Yeah.
we're wordsmithing it to death now.
Cause the next slide gets more deep. But I think that's the distinction, right? This is the action. And then the next slide is getting into what is actually impacted by it,
Mhm.
right? So. They are different, right? Because that's what triggers you having to deal with it.
Yes,
This is actually the set of trees that you have to account for, but you
Mhm.
still have to go through the process,
Mhm.
that they get through
A
and.
tree bylaw application will be triggered with the.
I kind
Yeah,
of
it's
like
too
it
many-
the way
Too
it
many
is.
words.
Too many.
I kind of like it. I think the word trigger triggers people.
yeah, I don't know that trigger's the best word, but the bylaw always applies, it's a bylaw.
Yeah.
You know, it always
Right.
applies. So when does it go into effect, maybe?
What action?
When does it-
Invoke the bylaw? That's the distinction, is it's action versus. Those are actions that you take that you then have to follow.
I like that, what you just said now.
What actions
Invoke, is that what you said?
invoke, okay, so that we don't, someone could come up with a better synonym for trigger.
Yes,
I am all for.
Does
Yeah.
number one need to be when a tree is taken down?
This is the debate we were having, right?
right,
Yeah, so the second slide talks about, well. I think these two slides are split between like which trees are applying and which ones are not, but you're right, like if there isn't a protected tree within that tree yard, it doesn't apply at all. So I think that Heidi will have to carefully explain that
Yeah.
these two are very much connected.
My concern with that slide before
Yeah.
is it suggests that those are the only things that.
right,
So if a tree is taken down,
a protected tree.
if a protected tree
Activate.
if a protected tree is removed, but that's done outside of having to pull one of these permits, they would be able to remove the tree unless they're pulling a street permit, which we talked about. They're supposed to pull a street permit when they do a tree removal. Does that make sense?
Would it be possible then? Can you go to the next slide?
Yeah. Also, this got messed up with the PDF, but I
Yeah.
can assure you these
Yeah.
links are supposed to be in the
So-
box.
Yeah.
Would it be possible then to explain this part first?
I think that's a smart. I would
Mhm.
suggest we do
Because
that.
it would
Over
not,
the-
it would not align with what we're considering, well, a protected tree.
I think that's a good idea.
Or
Where are we talking about? And then we say, what
Yeah.
triggers the,
So it's what exactly you're going to say right now, because we're still deliberating.
Yeah.
So I'm still, I think for the purpose of this meeting, we're trying to bring information to them, get their feedback, and then we can go back to
I think we
this
should do
slide
this one,
and then refine it,
1 through 4,
you
because
know?
the when will the tree bylaw apply? I mean, I think the rationale is both because arguably it's still in deliberation, but second is this is pretty technical. And we were struggling with the definitions of it to write the bylaw.
Correct.
And it's more, it's like the app, it's like, how do we create the impact we want? And the part for a public forum is this
Is this.
and all the other feedback, I think.
so
that
you
we
take
want,
out, you
because
think we should
the-
take out
I think we
why
should
we
take
should
that
take
out,
out, when
because-
does it trigger the bylaw? or
Right.
Yeah,
whatever?
I think we just take
Take
it
that
out
slide
because we
out.
might end up adopting
Yes.
language.
For
Maybe change that to example. Tree
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If we want it in, I like that.
Yeah.
Right. And then
I-
we put the
But I agree with the
slide
language.
following, Gabby, the
So-
slide that follows will precede that.
But I think
So-
actually you might need to move it within one slide, because once you dive into.
Right.
You wanna get through
Mhm.
all the other slides. Flow
Right.
very well. They
Yeah.
flow, I think it's like
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
and then like a details column, like
Okay.
the details that were, examples of, mechanisms.
You can even
Mechanisms
do,
That would trigger, not trigger.
so you can even
activate the
do.
bylaw. I don't know, we don't need to
So
overly,
it's
but
like
I
a,
think,
you know how you do these are the things that trigger, instead of
Mhm.
putting trigger, just kind of like a
Flow
flowchart,
Mhm.
that these are the mechanisms that would allow for the tree bylaw. to take effect.
honestly, I think. If we just step back. Sorry. I was jumping right in, but I think where you're headed with is versus what are we talking about, right? What trees, right? Everyone just wants to know, like, is my tree that I know might be getting old in this space, or if I'm not planning to do any of these, like, to sell my house anytime soon, is it gonna? Those are, so like, and my neighbor's yard and things, so I think going through all of these slides that I think are really well done. All the way through until we get to taking out that for now, until we get to open issues under review by the committee. We could have another slide before that that says. Kind of like, what will the process look like? And I think there we could have a
Right.
very high level, like,
flowchart,
very,
yeah.
But do that later,
yeah, like,
after we've gone through.
before we
what
even
talk, what kind
yeah,
of trees.
after- after the slide that says more places the spine is not. Because I think otherwise,
Yeah.
that's process, and that stuff
I think that's a
Yep.
isn't
good
actually
suggestion.
as a. The meat,
And I think it is helpful to list these, and I
Yeah.
like the idea of putting examples where this might apply. As a lead-in for discussion.
because that is something we should talk about.
Or
Like,
to,
we
like-
don't- Some people might have stronger, who knows, like, maybe the town is ready for a more aggressive approach than we're even. I think we've got a good plan here, but if open issues under review, like, I think. We could have a bullet point that just says, we should probably add more under open issues, but one of them could be process. Right, because that is still, like, we have a sense of it, right, and the process. Is that plus a bunch of other things, so
Right.
like the process is something we're still working out. But we could outline it generally.
Was everybody here for Chris Heap's meeting the other day? Okay, so everybody knows that it's okay that we use tree yard and setbacks
Yep.
together in the same breath. Okay, good.
I think
Maybe
that's
could we,
confusing,
Can we
guys.
recap for you?
well, yeah, or even could we, maybe could we go through the rest of the slides
Yeah,
and then we'll
yeah.
go back and move these?
Yeah.
Okay, So, all right, so I'll pause this one too.
So can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
This one. Are we jumping in here and assuming that everybody knows that we're talking about trees on house lots? Has that been clear?
We haven't defined that yet, if it's only gonna be restricted
Oh.
to residential.
We should.
Well, this group hasn't come to a consensus on which districts, which zoning setbacks this applies to.
Well, it's a matter of it's on a private house lot. That's all we're talking about.
Well, that's the question for the group, I think, is this,
I just assume we
we
have.
hadn't gotten to the point of even confirming if it was within zoning setbacks. And now we know we can do within zoning setbacks. So the next question for the group is this only applicable to residential districts? Yeah, which if that's the case, that's fine. It's just we haven't defined this
So
yet.
then-
And so
So
this
their
is,
districts would be multifamily or commercial, right?
yes, I think the issue is just we haven't discussed that as a group yet. We only got to the point of saying, okay, zoning setbacks,
Just say-
okay.
say- Say, just say anything. Private lot. or something.
For what the description of the photo is, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just say that would be a private lot.
Do we want to?
Yeah.
We're still defining.
Well, we're not gonna, we're only gonna do
Talking about-
private,
That's right,
regardless
that's right.
of
Yeah. Thank you.
whatever
Yes.
zone district is,
Yes.
it's only gonna be private. At this point.
And we're not trying to drill into. Where public and private is, cause there's a
Verb,
public
yeah.
berm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to deal with that right now, so people. Understand. that
I think
there
the simpler the
layers.
better.
I think we made reference, was it in that the public shade trees are excluded?
That's in the exemptions,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Because they have their own set of.
Yeah, because Ed.
We
Done,
don't have to
done.
use this image. Also, I got this from Alex, because I was hoping to use a photo of like an actual conforming lot in Needham, but we could also draw our own image and just be very general and just show like.
I just think it really just gets the point across. Here are the setbacks, they're in yellow. Yeah.
Use green, okay.
Green means go though, we're trying to say stop.
Pick another color, but not yellow. Yellow doesn't show up when you do any printing. Either maybe it's orange or something, just change it, like that color is better than that.
Okay,
And I know what you did, you had to do it,
Yeah,
you couldn't. yeah.
we
exactly.
have to do
You had to make
it.
it lighter so you could actually read.
Exactly. Opacity. All right.
Well, if you send me that image, I can fix it so that you don't have to do that. So if you give me the original image, not the image with the yellow. Do you have that
I
just
got-
one flat image?
I got it from a PowerPoint that Alex gave me.
So that's it, it's a fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have similar ones?
Is it a grouped set
Yeah,
of
I
images?
have-
Can you
I have
ungroup it and?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the
I can
same.
give you something.
I think
Alright.
it's important then to include it.
What colors do you? You want orange, do you mind if I make it a little bit more like that? Orange?
Yeah.
And here, you know, when I first read this slide, I mean, the only thing that sort of jumped to me, and I get this is wordsmithing again, but trees within the buildable area of the lot are not protected. That's sort of like, maybe but within this bylaw, you know, because we want that, to Ed's previous points, we want them to be protected, but we're not
Then
officially.
let's just delete the whole sentence and focus on the protected.
Yeah, maybe we should just delete the whole
Delete the
sentence.
sentence because it
Confused.
confuse people and it really is about the tree yard and how we're going to enact
Mhm.
the bylaw to
Okay.
protect the trees within that tree yard. And they may ask, and what happens with the trees in other areas? And then we answer, right?
So this is your private property. It's up to you. We
Right,
hope you protect them.
exactly.
But
Follow Ed, he can help you think it.
I think it would have to be more nuanced. There are other rules that may protect trees.
Right, so yes.
right, through like
Right.
Conservation Commission, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There
It's
is
the
a,
last
the
sentence.
slide to,
It does, yeah,
There's a good.
The exemptions, yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
All right,
So we take out that sentence.
yes.
Where did repaid come from? I don't remember like reading that.
Just a word that Heidi had suggested, yeah. We have other words though, we could use mitigation, we could use compensation, we could use.
I like
Tree
mitigation.
fund.
Well, is the plan
She wants
that
it
we
to
are
be-
proposing a mitigation plan in the bylaw, is it called mitigation?
It is,
So
isn't
we
it?
should use
Yeah.
mitigate, we should use mitigate. Mitigate, anyway, preserve,
Yeah.
replace, mitigated, yeah.
All right,
I
so
have to go
repaid will
back.
become mitigation is there. Is the change?
Yeah.
Okay.
And wherever possible. we should Using repaid.
Yeah, sorry Heidi, I don't like that word. Mitigation,
Okay. This is draft slides.
yeah.
All right. Oops.
So here, I had a comment that in the red box, we need to make it clear that we're not preventing anybody ever from ever building on, we're not saying you can't build because you can't ever take down a tree. We're not preventing that. We're just putting parameters around if you do take down a tree to build, then you have to do this. So, we talked about this last time with Chris. It sort of came across in some of the language to me that it sounded like we were preventing people from taking trees down, and we're not. We're just saying if you want to take a tree down and let's protect it, you have to pay.
Maybe used to be. Some.
Yeah, something like that.
You can always do it.
Can mitigate it,
Right.
Mitigation.
because that, to your point, that's gonna be really, if people are concerned.
It has to be crystal
Yeah,
clear, I
Right,
think.
right.
Yeah.
Right, so here you're saying like put in. an
Yeah, will
additional
not
statement.
forbid, yeah, will not.
Well, never, because it never will.
Right, that's the point, I think that's. Wanting to convey.
Even if you have to pay.
But I think that's pretty clear.
No,
I don't think it was clear. I didn't
Okay.
think it was clear enough. And we don't want to, like, as Chris says, to render a lot unbuildable.
So what would you
You know?
add to
Yes.
that?
This says,
If you cut it, you
You're saying it's
can't
like-
cut down any tree.
Right.
You just have to mitigate. Not physically stopping you from.
the
Does
first,
this change, is the change prevent becomes forbid, or what's the?
well, this point just says disease, dangerous, or invasive. I'm saying we should talk about all trees, whether they're diseased, dangerous, invasive, or perfectly healthy.
It's
We're not
just
saying you
adding
can't
a-
take it down.
just
We're just
adding.
saying if you do, you have to pay into it. You have to mitigate.
But there are two different categories, and this becomes clearer in the next one. So one is what Andrew was saying, I think, really clear, just bullet point one. You're never, in fact, it probably, I think we should switch this slide in front of the one we just looked at. Cause then it'll make more sense. I think, well, maybe
Ignore
not,
this one?
maybe I'm wrong, but either way, just putting one bullet point at the top that says forbid property owners from removing a tree, parentheses, see, or like see mitigation options. just for-
Yeah, something, yeah.
See, so I think like that should be right under will not.
I
think
agree.
everything that's there, I think the
Is
next one is
applicable.
really important because it's not even applicable. The
Maybe
law is not even, no, but I think
Yeah,
it will not apply to, it's not just that it doesn't prevent them. It's that it does not apply to removal of individual trees, even if they're in the tree yard, right? That are diseased, dangerous, or invasive. So they're
Right.
two different things.
Right, I would.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, Did that make sense? Yeah, so
So
the
it's
first.
It makes sense to me, and that's the point I
Right,
was trying to
we got
make.
our-
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't catch it. Right.
So the first one is forbid property owners from removing individual trees.
Period. Parentheses.
Parentheses.
C mitigation, just because then it will make sense. Often.
Okay,
See
and then what's the
mitigation.
second, what's the second bullet?
That is
What's
second
there,
bullet.
except changing it. Apply to instead of prevent property owners from. So apply to removal of
Yeah.
individual trees, because it doesn't,
Yeah,
you
And then
don't have
for
to
it to-
mitigate.
yeah,
You don't have to mitigate.
yes,
If you can
exactly.
show that it's disease, and we get the details later. but
Yeah,
So that people aren't stewing.
Wait, so
Yeah.
there's more.
Yes.
The first sentence, so the first sentence on there, so it'll be will not, first sentence. Forbid
Okay.
property owners from removing individual trees, parentheses, see mitigation. Then the second one is apply to removal of individual trees.
that are
That-
diseased, dangerous, or
That are
invasive.
That's a really important point that I think everyone will want, that deserves to be in.
Wait a minute, didn't we
But
say that we
did-
weren't gonna include,
But I think
that we weren't gonna remove, didn't we say that we weren't gonna
Did we remove
take the invasive trees, we were gonna protect them too?
Invasive
I
is-
think we did change that, right, Ed?
Yes.
Disease, dangerous,
This is-
or at risk or something?
I think diseased or dangerous gets the.
We
point.
did, but I think the slide's confusing because if I were a homeowner that wasn't gonna do a building or trigger the bylaw, and I had a Norway maple that I was concerned about, or a diseased tree, I think that's where we're trying to call this out, I think, right?
That's one of the points we're trying to call out.
Right, so I think we gotta be clear that, again, if you're not triggering the bylaw of like removal permit, you can still do tree work, especially if you're, or for whatever reason, really, you can do tree work. Disease, dangerous, even if you just don't like the tree, you can take it down if you're not like doing a demo permit, like if you're just a homeowner.
That's-
I think
that's
that's what we're
not-
trying to call out,
But I
Not
think it's
clear
not
yet.
clear on that yet,
Yeah.
because
Right.
we.
right?
No, I'm saying, I don't think that, sorry, the bylaw is not clear on that, and I don't think, because there's the debate about the street permit, because arguably. At least what someone said is that even
Right.
if you're just, you
Right.
should actually be triggering the bylaw.
That's right. That's
So
right.
there's one thing about enforcement, we may not get around to like, priority is of enforcement may not invoke that, but I don't think we wanna explain it that way. I think
I know.
if we take off the invasive,
Yeah, we removed that.
I think we will hit the right level if we then delete the last sentence, right? Because I think that's unnecessary from what we're saying anyway, like apply to every tree on the lot is already pretty obvious from what we're saying above with the two other points. And I think if you wanted to say something else, render the lot unbuildable. Like, I think that, and that's part of you're making sure we're not rendering
Yeah.
Yeah,
the lot unbuildable, and I think that understandably would be a number one concern of somebody in the audience, whether they're a developer or want to sell their house and they'll tear down. Because we're making sure that we're building in things that a builder, if they're not forced to do, and may not do, but is not gonna end their desire to work in it.
So are we doing 4 then? We doing the forbid, we doing the second one about apply to individual trees that are deceased and dangerous. Apply to every tree on the lot and will not render.
I think we take apply to every tree on the lot, because it's essentially, that's what the two things above are saying.
The
How about
Yellow.
will not render the
The lot
property
unbuildable.
unbuildable would be number 3.
I just liked how whoever Chris said that, and I think that really speaks to your guys's. Otherwise, we might do that without understanding.
My instinct after listening to this is this needs to be less. This aims to apply to trees of a particular size and trees within the tree yard. And maybe it addresses the clear cutting and demolition stuff, or maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but what we're saying is trees of a certain size in the tree yard, we are protecting. Like that's what we know this would do.
Maybe that's enough, and we can leave it for the questions.
Well, that,
to
we're
okay.
supposed to be not saying what we're doing, right? Kind of that, like, we wanna say sorry, I meant, as in, we haven't written and tried to pass the bylaw, okay, so we're open, we're still proceeding. Goes to your.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it would do these things, but what we can say is what's being, proposed is it would protect trees of a particular size in the tree yard. That's
it.
that's all
Right.
that's
But we
what
also wanted to make sure people understood that we're not saying you can't
Right.
take a tree down,
right,
and we're not
and
saying
so
you're forfeiting
it
your
would not
rights.
apply to disease and dangerous tree.
Right.
So we then do 2 bullets then and leave it at that.
And I sorry to be like go over this over and over again, but I just read it again because we had this discussion. We as a committee keep doing the same thing over and over again too.
Yes.
In that we make this sort of the same mistakes. We decided as a committee that we were going to remove invasive trees as exempted. So invasive trees are protected. And yet, our
need that.
instinct is to write a bullet point here that puts invasive trees as exempt from the, so we're taking it out, but I just want to make sure everybody really does internalize that, including myself, you know?
We agreed that in general, we want a tree.
We wanna
trees.
keep
don't wanna
trees.
give-
Take a tree down, even if we hate a tree, because it's a
So-
bad
So
guy.
two bullets.
2 bullets. Forbid property owners from removing individual trees, parentheses, see mitigation. Second bullet, apply to removal of individual trees that are diseased or dangerous.
And leave it
Okay.
It's the narrative.
Bring more
Hope is
yeah.
at this point.
People will probably ask questions and it'll be a good,
So the one on the left is okay,
Well,
It's just-
he was,
but yeah. so-
I think you were making a suggestion of fighting out the first address clear cut. I think is what.
Correct.
What if you just put the order? And kept it?
I think Heidi, I know, may want that language.
Yeah.
but
But you
I
can still
think-
put this one first. Apply only to trees, of particular
Yeah.
size within the tree yard.
I think it's more of a goal or it's a hope.
Mhm.
It's not a
Okay.
bill.
Mm.
There's nothing in this that speaks to what you can or cannot demolish. or
Yeah.
that's- there's no Language.
So maybe it's like, what about try to address,
Yeah.
Or will
focus
have the
on?
effect of. Think, yeah.
the first time I read these, my intent, I thought it was an excellent that
Yeah.
we were doing this. So I know we're sort of getting into the nitty gritty, but I really liked the way
Yeah, the
the
general.
green and the
intent
red
is
and
that-
it came across.
So I agree that we should move apply only to the top, at the very least. Apply only to trees of a particular size within the tree yard, that's the like definition of the basic bylaw. And then I think, if we feel like we still need, I think it's helpful. I go either way.
I-
What you're
I
saying,
think-
it's helpful to people to understand kind of what types of things to be impacted by it. And so I think that that's what that is doing, but I agree it should be secondary, and if we wanted to, there's probably,
Better word than address.
impact, likely impact clear cutting.
Well,
or
that's our
something, 'cause
goal.
It's not gonna stop, it doesn't have to, we're also saying you can still clear cut.
So I
right?
think if we have
likely
not,
Impact instead of address, I don't know.
so I think if we have, similar to what we did over here, if we're not absolutely 100% decidedly on this particular address clear cutting for demolition, and we have still not really concocted those definitions to align with that yet. I think that's way too much information. I would just leave apply only to trees.
See, I don't agree because I think people are coming into this meeting and this is what they're thinking. Another house got torn down and every single tree got cut down on the lot. And I know that that's what people complain to me about when they know that I'm working on this. And I think we just need to change the wording so that like attempts to
To address.
lessen or address or control the amount of clear cutting, something like that. You know, because we have, I mean, we came out and we said that outright, the primary goal of this work that we're doing right now for this bylaw is to address that.
Why would you say help?
We don't need to be scared of the.
Yeah, I don't think we should. I think that's what people are most upset about.
But maybe that belongs.
Maybe.
Why are we?
Right,
Maybe that's,
right,
I mean,
maybe. I think. I'll just say, I think keeping it simple for the purpose of this slide with the wills and will nots is effective. I think we should address that particular somewhere else.
well,
Because, you know, ideally, we will address clear cutting and we will incorporate that into the bylaws somehow. But can you go to the next slide?
And just as an example, right, you can clear cut a lot. Right?
Right.
You can clear cut a lot.
Yeah.
With this bylaw.
Right,
So this will not stop that.
No.
right, so I,
it is impacting their bill, right? So I agree. I think that this should be front and
The clear cutting is what has motivated
Yeah,
us.
but
to
taking it and putting it.
yeah,
Your point is.
just trying to, yeah.
So like it could go up to a tree preservation bylaw. And if we change the word must, because I think that's maybe a little too strong,
Mhm.
but up at that like the
Shall.
goals, or even just like shall's even stronger in the law. But you know, goals of a tree, you know, aims of a tree preservation bylaw in Needham. Right, and then it is a little more specific than help preserve Needham's private tree canopy. And be clear in it, but it could be a number 4. Or it
Yeah.
could be an
Yeah.
overarching aim, like in a cloud bubble, if people wanted.
I like the
I would
idea
do
of
it
changing
again.
must for aim.
I like, cause your point about aim and goal.
Aspires
I'm thinking.
to,
So-
Yeah.
Aims It goes
to.
aim
Okay.
Aim, and then we add 4 here,
for Needham.
What's
aim to reduce.
or make
Or
clear,
potential.
like a more
Like
thoughtful
potential.
process.
More thoughtful approach to, you know, tear downs and.
And preserving
and
more
large
trees,
new
existing
construction.
mature trees on a existing lawn.
I mean, I think
with
we
new
all
construction.
feel that.
Right, yeah.
So you had, so the
Sounds-
4th one is a more thoughtful approach to clear cutting for new construction? Is that?
Yeah.
I think we trust the exact word. Set out.
Okay,
Okay,
and so
so,
then take this out then,
and just
Yeah.
leave the other, yeah.
okay. I
And-
do
and-
think Heidi had strong feelings about this part, but I'm happy
Well,
to
as long as
disconvey
it's
it.
stated, even.
Yeah.
So I think also the color red, can we do a transparency so the red is not like really,
Right,
and the green too, a little bit more transparent.
yeah, we can do that.
Go dog, go. Stop, dog, stop. It's right now.
Mm,
Go down.
Okay, and then, yeah,
Thank you.
okay. This side.
I know. I know. Yeah.
Looks good.
Thankful.
Alright,
We should add to this.
Yeah.
what would you like to add?
Well, does anybody have any thoughts?
What
So
is-
we talked earlier about process, so that's the first,
So just one bullet that says process.
right, process for not enacting, well, yeah. We haven't figured that piece out yet.
And does staff time
Um,
equate to cost
I
of
think you could just say,
implementation?
Process.
Impact on
bylaw,
staff,
looking at
the
tree.
impact and process
Yeah.
on stuff.
And implementation cost?
Is that separate
Tree
from
preservation.
staff time?
That's-
Is that one?
They just have to explain that.
Okay, so when Heidi
Cost of
presents this,
implementation.
she should explain what,
Cause it's gonna be a
Okay.
budget
So
line
it
item
would be cost
eventually,
of implementation.
potentially.
Staff.
But it might be shared.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I wasn't. Just like,
So instead of
So
staff
then-
time, it would be cost of implementation.
Maybe enforcement?
yeah,
Enforcement is,
That's
it is different, but it's
Implementation is
important.
different.
that's definitely.
A lot of that kind of hurt, right? When I go to fill out an application. And I hit, I'm removing trees, right? I would assume in permit process, I'm suddenly looking at a whole new screen and. I'm not exactly sure where it's going, but I know someone's suddenly seeing a bunch of information on it. The same way if I have to fill out information about insulation in a building. You have to fill in numbers and. See, like, it's going to somebody.
So then in the bullet that says process, it would be process for implementation and enforcement. And cost of implementation of bylaw is another bullet.
And then we have the issue that you brought up, which I think is a very important issue that may be specific to extra lots, non-conforming.
It could just be like,
About
no.
smaller exemptions or appeals
Special-
process or something.
Maybe it's like,
Special, special circumstances.
E.g. small size, particularly small lots, I mean,
Or
I,
non-conforming.
I think that non-conforming is a word of like. Like frankly, like, so. That we're not in a zone session.
I think special circumstances, yeah, right, because people are gonna see, well, my law's really fine, I mean, I like, my tree yard is my house is in my tree yard because it's setbacks are only 5-10 feet, because, I don't know.
One of the ways, and Heidi can. Make sure she conveys this, right, but we wanna convey that like. These are issues that, all the issues really are kind of open, right, like there's some real, this is the process. We've got as like our, 90% sure, especially as. we
Special
prove
issues
this
and
out.
exemptions,
But
maybe?
there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And the whole point is we're seeking comment, so we won't want it to sound. I know Heidi has been working very hard to avoid sounding like we've done the process.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know it is.
But
So
we
I
can
do
put a
think
bullet
there's-
time. I'm sorry.
No, just something to convey that.
A bullet point with question mark,
Right.
you tell us what some of the. Issues we should be considering are, something inviting from the public,
So I don't like the word
Mm.
open
Question.
matters. Open matters.
Topic.
I mean, there's other things, but I don't think it's appropriate for the public, subdivisions and.
Impact under review? Or
Details,
how about matters?
Add
Matters, please. Open matters.
Okay. So
topics.
process for implementation and enforcement, costs for implementation and enforcement. Special circumstances and exemptions, and then keep what's there for mitigation fees. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Other.
Other question mark?
More? And just to confirm. Full view, do the bullets. Capture the tension points of past efforts by
Oh, that's a good
previous
question.
tree committees. Is that
That's
fair to say?
excellent point.
I would defer to Ed on that question.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Do the bullets we just talked about capture the topics that cause previous efforts to falter?
Yeah, I think they do for right now. Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Great.
Thank you.
How much trees should be?
We already had an idea.
Is that I think that was, is it an inch for inch replacement?
But I think I actually think that we're gonna take that one off because I thought it was counterintuitive and Ed's. Like, we're gonna be pretty what people would think is lax on that, like in a good way because of what Ed suggested. But I was thinking we should take that bullet off.
I think that's the size of the tree planted, the 1 inch, but this is saying if you're removing like a 40-inch tree, are you planting 41-inch small trees? Like what's
I
the?
see.
Yeah,
So-
and I,
So that would
Okay.
be a little bit,
The requirements for
Mitigation
because this is-
fees, tree replacement formulas or something. Yeah, I mean, I do, because there's other issues in that formula besides just the. And then there's like critical root zone and other things to be considered. So I think
so instead of mitigation fees, could we
mitigation
just-
plan.
Can we do put mitigation planning, because eventually they have to put a plan
Yeah.
together. And then,
I
you
think,
know, in terms of before.
no, you're,
In terms of the value of a removed tree. Is that, is so specific. That I'm not sure if we want to get into that level of specificity and granularity in a public forum. But can we elevate it
Setting
a little
value.
bit more in terms of the cost of mitigation? So mitigation planning, and under that, you know. Potential costs for mitigation, what does that look like?
costs for, I mean, I think we do have to set the number, right? They're gonna wonder, like, if this is a $50 thing, then no one's gonna care. If it's,
setting the value.
so I think just being open that we haven't set the value, right? Like,
yeah,
Right,
setting the
Yeah.
value, and then,
Setting-
because, and then the second
Measure.
is kind of, because, well, one of them is for repaying and one is for replacing. They're two different
Yeah,
pathways, right? So it makes sense for one bullet point to be, the formula for, pays for payments into the, per tree, into the tree fund, and then the second bullet to be, formulas for, calculating an appropriate amount of tree to replace or something.
does it make sense to maybe put as a matter of comparison for people, just for like a reality check? For instance, what, like an example of what Wellesley's bylaw says, so that people can understand. So for example, not that we're doing this
Right.
per se, but in Wellesley, if you take down an 18-inch tree, you can either pay X or plant Y, or
or a combo.
or a combination of that, and just keep it simple. But that, and maybe just give what, like 2 or 3 examples without going into the whole big tables and everything.
I
That,
think there's one in our draft, final draft.
Yeah.
Diagram.
yes,
Are
and
you-
there's a cup, they're big,
But we
but
could.
we could
type
selectively,
like a example,
yeah,
tree owner, landowner takes down 3 trees, protected trees, tree
Mhm.
yard. And then, options,
mhm.
right? Pay X, if in Wellesley, based off of Wellesley, these are your options or something.
And we can cite the
And that
source,
is a
and that
great-
gives them an idea of,
Are you saying though to leave the values out? Like, I just wonder if I think if you put any numbers on here, I mean, the group hasn't discussed that yet at all.
no, but we would just be putting the numbers of Wellesley's to give people
Just an
just an
example or
idea
Okay.
of the kinds of things that other
Yeah,
towns are
It's just-
doing.
there's such a big range
Yeah,
from other communities. I just worry that you might attract unwanted attention when the group hasn't discussed this yet. Like, we're trying to put together information right now of what the mitigation fees are for other communities and how they're justifying them, to give
We
you
could
guys something to
do
reflect
it in a
on.
way that- I hear you,
Mhm.
but do the example, say a certain, amount per inch or what,
Just
however.
say
they're
X,
defined.
X, X instead of real
Yeah.
numbers.
And say like X
Say-
dollars
So you
for
understand
B,
what-
X dollars for the replacement, or a combo of the two.
And I think the idea is there's a lot of stuff that we know before. If these are the open issues, it's okay for us to be less specific, but we obviously have to be thoughtful about getting, setting up for an unwanted discussion. But we probably should also direct, one of the things I was gonna suggest, and Gabby, you had said it as the next slide, right, is are there specific, right, like anyone's welcome to say anything they want, but these are particular areas, right? Now or later, we would love input. And that might be worth us formulating as a group when we're done with
Mhm.
open issues.
So can we recap, because I don't like those two bullets, I just think they're somewhat misleading, and just.
So what I have so far is open matters under review is the title. Bullet number 1, process for implementation and enforcement. Bullet number 2, costs for implementation and enforcement. Bullet number 3, special circumstances and exemptions. Bullet number 4,
Mitigation planning,
mitigation planning.
okay, so.
And
under-
sub-bullet, tree replacement formula. Another sub-bullet, mitigation fee.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right.
Yes,
And then we're talking about, oh, we already covered that. so we
yeah,
have to-
and I think that's enough.
mhm.
Okay.
And then the other maybe.
Oh, right.
Just to
I
try to
forgot
prompt,
that there.
or you leave it out, I don't care, I'm just,
To be determined.
to be determined,
Okay.
just to give the impression that we're not done.
This is the same slide that was shown at your last public listening session.
I think that's,
Mhm.
we're good.
All right,
Yep.
good.
Just put your name of Needham, just highlight Needham.
Mm,
On the
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea.
With a
little star.
star or color it, on it, and yeah, or an outline.
If you color it, you'll lose the
Yeah.
amount of.
So either outline it, star will block too much, just.
How about,
case-
how
just
about
do a
Needham
red
with an
out-
arrow?
No, that's
I was
fine.
gonna say it's gonna be
Arrows, but-
tricky to outline on. Like,
Did you do this yourself? Did you click?
this is from the CRWA page.
Oh,
This is not our
okay,
map.
from-
This is from their regional plan.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm happy to add a arrow that says Needham. Okay. This was.
I mean, this is where I thought we could put, you sign up, here's where you sign up for the listserv,
Mm-hmm.
and then we put the page for the home page, for the web page, either here or I guess in the beginning, like we said.
So to have 2 screenshots, one that's showing where to sign up for Notify Me, and
Mhm.
another one that's showing the website.
Yeah. And to just, and hopefully Heidi can speak to, you can get to our website a variety of ways. You can either go to the hot topics at the bottom of the main Needham webpage, or you can
Mhm.
search for go to the committee. I mean, there's a million ways to get there, but the easiest way is whatever.
Okay.
I do think that it's important to show that our information is up to date, unlike some other committees. You know what I mean? Like, it's very up to date. It's very comprehensive. All the no, I don't mean it like that. I mean it as a compliment to Gabby.
Don't say anything to the other. I won't tell the other committees that you said that.
Don't.
That's right.
And there's a lot of information there.
Okay, so I will tell Heidi that piece too. Can we, so now we've gone through all the slides, can we go back to the zoning, to the setbacks and the when will this apply? Just so I know where this is supposed to go. So this is going earlier.
Mhm.
And then did you want to move this after the green and red boxes? Or where did you want this one to go?
What goes after?
Maybe you could say that the picture of
Mhm.
you could say that the bylaw defines an area called the tree yards. Because that's sort of a starting concept. And then we talk about what events will also trigger it.
Okay, so this is going immediately after the zoning setback
Yeah,
slide.
maybe, yeah. We could see that.
Um,
And then the red and the black one comes last as kind, oh wait, there's.
Yeah, I think the order otherwise might be just. Just
so
define
the
what
tree, this
yard-
part should be before the wills and will not.
Which part? The zoning setback one?
So the tree bylaw will apply or aim, whatever it is that we decided. Will go before the slide that says will and will not.
Oh,
Because the
this
flow of
slide?
information, yes,
So
before
the
that.
So
one.
this is-
one
this
that
is-
has the four definitions.
So this is before the 4 definitions. The red and the blue box. I mean, the green and the red.
Can you make this whole thing smaller so you get like 4 in a row there?
It'd be very small.
Oh.
Sometimes it like,
PDF is.
yeah, so at least we can see,
I can see these.
so when will the tree bylaw apply? Should go before the yellow box, 3 green circles, or the red and the black, red and the green
So I would
boxes.
say, yes. That the tree bylaw go between the tree yard protection beam, the 3
Mhm.
circles,
Done.
and the red and green down here.
Okay.
So it goes yellow slide.
Tree bylaw, when will the tree bylaw
when will-
apply?
No,
No, so it's yellow,
Oh, sorry.
yellow, yellow,
circle.
3 circles, tree
Tree bylaw.
bylaw,
no,
then this one?
no, the tree bylaw will apply, and then after that, the tree bylaw will not. So, you know, when.
Just.
You know what, get up and point.
Yeah, what,
Yeah, I think, go ahead, Eric. Just convey the.
So this one should go here,
Nope,
here.
there.
okay, so it goes
So the
yellow.
first one is this one. The second one is this one,
Yeah.
Yes.
the third one is this one,
Yep,
and the last
in
one is that one.
conclusion,
and in conclusion,
Mm,
it
the
will and
summary
will
is-
not.
Wait, say that one more time. So it goes yellow.
One,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to everybody?
Because the flow
Okay.
of the.
Okay. I gotta
Just
do
call me
this.
Vanna.
That was very helpful. That's what I needed.
Sometimes the visual is better than the words.
Yeah,
So is that gonna offend?
I don't think so. No, it's all,
Well,
I
she's
do,
gotta
I
look
do
at
the
it, yeah.
PowerPoint. It's just everything's in the PDF, so that's what I have pulled up from the agenda packet. But
Yeah.
no, and Heidi urged me to emphasize that these are very draft slides, so new
So
new
one-
changes are coming.
One note, so
Mm-hmm.
whatever color you decide to do the, so you, so use also the same color
Yes, for the box.
for the box, like highlight the box,
Mhm.
the box,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Okay. I think that was all the slides.
Okay.
I'm gonna work on writing these all up. I will send them to Heidi. And then my guess is that. Oh, and Oscar, because with
Just give
the,
you- Yeah, I'll just give you that again. So I have it here, I'll just remake the slide and send it to you.
Do you want me to send you the original PowerPoint slide? So you have that?
Sure.
Okay. I would assume that these changes will happen up until the presentation, so I don't know that we'll have time to share this with the group again, but are folks comfortable with?
Got the idea.
Yeah, I think you're gonna work with Heidi,
Yeah.
and if you want to loop me in,
Yep.
fine.
You
If
will
you
be-
don't,
you'll
it's
be
fine
CC'd on
too.
all the
You don't
emails.
have to, but if you want to, I'm around.
Good. I think
Okay.
Fred had his hand up.
I'm anticipating a question, from the audience that we. Because I'm hearing some ambiguity about whether this committee intends to intervene in a homeowner's decision who is not putting on an addition or doing new construction, right? Like there was talk here tonight about if you pull a street permit because you're cutting down a tree, are you gonna trigger it? I think if we try to regulate homeowners deciding what trees to cut down, absence of construction, it's gonna be way more controversial, and if we're, so
I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
I think, and that's partly the reason I think we're trying to clarify that our primary focus is to address the tear down.
My impression is that we've never really
Come out and said that.
discussed tackling homeowner decisions without construction. Am I right about that?
No, I think that's right. I think if you want to pursue that, I think you take out the opening of a street permit and then you're relying solely on the 12-month look back to catch any clear cutting. And if that's the case, that's fine. Like other communities have done that with their bylaws, have restricted it to construction specific activities. So I don't think it'd be unusual to do that. You just have to change what we have in there right now.
But so say you're a homeowner right now and you wanna do things the right way, you know, you wanna get a tree guy who does open a street permit. You're subject to the bylaw.
And you're gonna have to pay mitigation.
Yeah, exactly.
For your tree removal.
Whereas the other neighbor might say,
It's like.
Yeah,
That's why I was
That's
just
a tree down and-
that none of the tree guys take out street. permits,
Right,
the
but if we
regular
write
tree
it
work.
in the law, like, we have to decide if we, I think,
Shaking his head.
yeah, let's see what the reality.
What do you think, Ed?
I would agree with what people said. There's nobody taking a street opening permit for tree work. I mean, we know that.
So
We know.
it sounds like we're in agreement that we're, if someone asks whether we're studying the possibility of intervening in that situation, then the answer is we're not at this point, right? Okay.
So do you want to
That's
take
correct.
that out of the PowerPoint slide?
Well, I don't want to debate about it more right now, because that's just, it's a tweaking decision, I think. It's just, people want to know what our intentions are and what our goals are. And our goal is not to intervene in tree removal.
I think that
That I
we
think-
have basically addressed it here,
I think
because
If
because
we-
regular arbor work doesn't trigger any of those.
Correct.
it should
It's
not,
supposed
unless
to.
someone is really doing their
Not-
due
not
diligence.
this time.
Nobody does that.
So are we gonna, that's a concern. Guys, people.
Let's just leave it, because the problem is right, like you could be doing. There was,
Other
the
stuff.
reason the street
Putting
permit
in a
was there
pool.
had more reasons than that.
And
Yeah,
taking
but
out
then-
a bunch of trees.
That was the bait.
I would not.
The tennis court.
Let's see if it,
Yeah.
but I do think we should be very thoughtful and make sure that everybody is on the same page, because I wasn't here, but just in reading the notes from last week, this. Popped up at, or last meeting that I wasn't at, and it looks like, understandably, there's different. Concern or different perspectives on that question, even if I think. If we were to vote, we solidly lean in a certain direction, but. I think we just need to make sure we're speaking with one voice.
Yes. I
And it
think so.
may be that we're, at the point, our general aim is this, we are giving a lot of consideration to all the scenarios that could arise, and one of the, if somebody raises it, or maybe we front it, is this issue. There may be public support that we don't realize is out there at this point. I doubt it, and it gets more complicated, but I don't think it's. I think it is a bigger, it would be a bigger problem both legally and public wise if we say any tree on the lot. Right, right now, it's not to say that there's still not a potential trees, but that even if you're not doing a demolition, it's still a percentage of someone's lot. So I think that that's a big, like, we all have to do certain things for the community, so. I'm not pushing that, but I don't think it's out of the question that we could do that. I don't know if we have consensus.
So I had a second, the last time we had a public forum, somebody stood up at the end and said, I've been doing the right thing all my life here in Needham. My yard is full of trees. I'm gonna be penalized under this bylaw. And I did some research on this thing, and it's sort of acknowledged as one of the contradictions in most, tree law situations, is that you're not really rewarding good behavior. And the tree law will make a heavily wooded lot command a lower price for a developer, right? And so there are some strategies to try to reduce punishing somebody for doing the right thing. Such as rewarding them in some way for having large trees,
Right.
or
Reduction
capping
price.
the amount that you
Yeah.
charge for mitigation. I just want to anticipate that we might hear from the same gentleman.
He has since sent a follow-up letter.
Yeah.
He's here.
So, but I think.
I'm not allowed to voice it.
So speaking to that, I actually think that's perfect reminder of what either are the prompts or the other, that should be a bullet on the other sheet, right? Is how are we rewarding homeowners? New
Yes,
community
yeah.
members who, have thus far taken.
I
care of
know,
the
I
community.
think that's,
I think that's an excellent
Excellent
open
point.
communication.
but how do we do it?
But that's an open issue. It's an open issue. It's not something we're doing.
Is to have a sort of a tree coverage target. And lots that are below that target have to pay or do some work to come up to that, rise up to that target. Okay, and lots that are above the target get rewarded in some way. The problem is that requires infinitely more, not infinitely, a lot more technology, a lot more staff time and measurement time. And so it's less easy to understand, it's more costly to implement and enforce.
And it's easier for some people than others, depending on what they've inherited or purchased as their, if you move into a lot that's heavily wooded already, then you're benefiting. But if you move into a lot that isn't heavily wooded, then you're being penalized in that case.
Is
Or
it-
So
not
I think
penalized,
we
it's
should
just
have
not rewarded.
we could have like a brainstorming session at a later date
Yes.
to try to come up with some things. I think it's,
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get them at the meeting.
or maybe we'll get some ideas in the meeting. Do you have any
Yeah.
ideas?
Yeah, I
Bring them
mentioned
to
it,
Wednesday.
I mentioned it.
But I think
Originally,
having
I
trees, that's really helpful. I think.
Yeah.
Fred, is there another Massachusetts municipality that's implemented, like has that language in their bylaw that we could look at for reference?
So, I'll send you the ChatGPT search. I think there was Wenham, Massachusetts, might be. The main example was Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, it'd be helpful to see, just to like get the wheels.
Do they have a
turning bit.
policy?
Tacoma, yeah. Yeah, they have a target, they do free canopy. They have something called canopy credits. Each lot has canopy credit, okay? And again, you need GIS or something to calculate the canopy and And then you're aligning the law with what behavior you're trying to motivate. It's very close. That's the nice part about it. Again, the problem is that it's very costly, and if we try to present something that's too complicated to town meeting, it's not gonna get passed.
And we have such varying lot, I mean, even mine's, I don't think, like. It wouldn't make sense, like, it's only gonna do so much for some of the lot, for a good chunk of the lots in our town, right? There's some though that have these, that are very, and et cetera, right? So we have such. I'm guessing like different types of spaces than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to justify all the costs that would go into that, right? But we can build off of that and come up hopefully with something.
Yeah.
And even if it's, I think,
It could even be one of the exemptions. It could be of exemptions, is that there are special situations where where the ratio of tree coverage to lot size is at the point, then.
I think that's a very interesting point. So if you already have this percentage of of tree
to reduce
coverage canopy, you are not subject to the tree bylaw.
Or you're.
Or unless you're gonna return,
2%,
yeah.
like you get a free passage over.
free pass, yeah. Something like that. Because those are the people that are doing it right. They're not gonna take advantage of it.
It also,
Assumingly, you know?
we probably have to set a different agenda item or day for it, but I like that. The concept, right, is because I don't have a wooded lot, but if you've got one, taking down 2, 3, 4 trees, it's not gonna change the nature of the neighborhood and the walking on the streets in the summer and the feelings of that, right, that we're all experiencing with everything else. And so if you're doing it, technically hell, but as a percentage, right, like you kind of get a free pass for your average kind of maintenance and decisions as to your own property. But if it starts to go, even if you're not building a new structure, but if if you're taking down 25%, maybe that does invoke it, and it's only the part that's below the 25%, right? Past, depending on how you judge it. So you kind of have your free zone.
Right, so
And then-
maybe it's a part of the thing is the function of what's currently on the lot. So if you have 30 trees. I don't know, I agree,
So
it should
maybe
be a
we should have to
separate
go through the
discussion,
process.
but.
So I do think the concept is great. I think it's just very convoluted when it comes to identifying the best incentives. I do believe that, when you put together a mitigation plan, you can actually tie in some of those, quick the close kind of things. But I definitely think there's a lot to discuss on that. That was one of my main points in the beginning, but incentives are important for people. Especially people who have lived here for many years and protect their trees, and they want to see other people come forward and motivate other. But at the same time, there are other people who really benefit from building out their lots and earning income from it. So, there's a fine balance to it.
I do think having that in there, the open issues are good opportunity. I also think it's important that we acknowledge we are wrestling with that, right? Like, you
Yeah.
kind of start with the obvious, right? Which is what we've done, right? Like, we know this has to be a piece of any bylaw. Like, we can't, like, it doesn't mean we can't be adding in better incentives to align. And I think may not get that right the first time, like, right?
Yeah.
But at least I think that it makes sense and it will encourage people. If there's a positive, some sort of positive incentive, and it's not gonna, everyone's gonna be satisfied in the same way, not everyone's gonna be satisfied with the dollar amount that we choose for taking down a tree.
Yeah.
But I think making clear that we're trying to build in both
Yeah.
into this
Curious.
in some respect, or at
I'm
least
curious
think
to
about
see
it.
what they.
So is the bullet for this then just incentives ? Or I know someone said, how do we reward property owners doing the right thing? What language would you like to see for the bullet on this slide?
Either of those.
Yeah.
Well, incentives and rewards can be different,
Mhm.
so.
Exactly.
I would
Just
say.
leave it
I would
incentives.
choose-
But I think we should make sure we clarify that it's incentives for homeowners that are already
Trying
Protecting
to.
trees.
protecting trees and following the spirit of what our bylaw is attempting to do.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. I had one more question on the topic of this presentation, which I think Oscar, it was you who had suggested doing the live poll. Is that something that people still want to do? If so, what questions do you want to prompt the audience with? I have not talked to Alex about this also, caveat, but I'm just assuming it's going to be easy for us to figure out.
Well, first of all, do we think we have questions that we want to ask and get feedback on, or is this still listening? I mean, could we extract from some of these, from some of the slides?
Yeah.
Some questions? If we do that, if we do it now, or if we do it at the next meeting, when we've gotten more feedback from this meeting, and we've actually put together the whole idea that we were talking about earlier, which was to have actual questions that we need to get answers on, and do a survey or something, or a bunch of questions that we get people to write in on. So maybe it's better to do it at the next time.
Oh, for the next one?
I think so.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't
And we
something.
don't know.
Yeah. But also, when we've done this, the live surveys are cool. But you also can do the survey after people leave, and then give them a week or 10 days or something.
Absolutely.
But we got 11,000 plus on a handwritten survey that we asked people to submit in one of those situations.
Nice.
11,000 responses?
1,100, sorry.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
11,000. 11,100.
It's like,
1,155.
That was in the large house. Survey?
It was a set of questions. Answers. But it was one of the setups where we gave everybody questions that was an item,
Gotcha. Okay,
as opposed to the immediate survey.
different.
And you're sort of captured by who is there meeting, and so the nice thing about having a week is if they couldn't come, they can go
Like
watch
you're
watch the meeting on YouTube.
That makes sense. Okay, that was the only question I had.
okay, we have, I'm gonna say 20 minutes left, 9 o'clock. So we have a few things on the agenda. I'm gonna say, let's table education and communication discussion. I'm gonna ask if anybody has any questions or follow-up from Chris Heap's meeting the other day that they wanted to talk about? Or are we just gonna sort of incorporate all that into the next steps? And because we're not gonna get to reviewing
Yeah.
so I figured the last part, maybe we could get an update, more update on the large house review and committee and, yes.
So before we go to that, for Wednesday, before we close the loop on that,
Mhm.
at what time do you want us there?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What's the expectation for us to respond to questions, or, what's the process?
Yeah.
So the forum starts at 7. I think maybe people can get there by like 6:50. That would be great.
You don't need
That'll
any
be
help
the-
with setup or anything, because it's already gonna be set up.
Yeah, yeah, we already have staff support to set up. It'll be
And
the
tech.
the room is gonna look the same as it did for the last public listening session. Heidi's gonna run through the slides, and then I guess it's not clear to me how many questions will be answered versus like just acknowledging questions as they come up to bring back to the group.
But you could target for.
Yeah.
If she wants someone to answer or have them,
I-
she could either answer it or
Yeah,
ask somebody else to answer it.
So then maybe, because it depends on our audience and how, what they come, with what they come to in mind to discuss that day. If we do want it to be productive, maybe highlight 3 or 4 questions from the slideshow, maybe discuss that with Heidi to have those relevant questions So that at the end, if it kind of becomes a very slow kind of discussion or something, we can prompt them with those questions and see if we get immediate feedback. Because again, we might just have 5 people, we might just have 10 or 20. That's the only thought.
Are we all gonna sit like together up
Yeah,
front?
same layout. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No.
your
Can I-
moments of fame.
Can I ask about from the discussion with Chris Heap, the biggest takeaways I heard from the recording were getting information about how other communities that have this in their general bylaw are enforcing, like what staff are responsible, and then also how they're approaching subdivisions, if there's exclusions or if there's something else within their subdivision regs that applies to tree removal. Are there other topics that we think need additional research based on that conversation with Chris?
I think there was the issue of, I don't know if this applies here, but like with ADUs or large sheds going in that might necessitate, by right,
Mhm.
that might just necessitate, like if the building is allowed by right,
Mhm.
because of like the new ADU laws coming through, and that then necessitates a tree remove or a, results in a plan that will take down a tree, how does that get treated? I mean, I don't know if that's something that's broad enough for this
Mhm.
level here, or if it's too specific.
I think I might need some help with Chris for framing that.
Yeah.
There's so few ADUs likely that it could be something that say, we could add that to the list. That
As an
says-
exception?
Well,
Or-
that it triggers, well, I don't know if it is an exemption, we don't know.
Right.
Is it an exemption or should it be one that's mitigated?
Mm,
Just. Maybe we don't have the answer yet, but
okay.
they're rare, they will be, the numbers of ADUs, even with them being by right. They will
Okay.
still
So
exist.
you left it with Chris where we've identified this as an issue and Chris was gonna help us figure out how to frame that within the setbacks or
How
I
did we
think
leave?
I think we left it that he was gonna
Think
gonna
about
think
it.
it through it.
Yeah.
okay.
Because, and the other thing was, I brought up, because we can go through the exemptions and kind of really narrow down the key issues, like, we can do an exercise, what are the key issues that warrant an exemption? Does it warrant a categorical exclusion? For example, Kirk brought up the utility constraints when building. If you have that, is that an exemption? So we do need to kind of go back to the table and really look at those. And then probably go back and if there are any by right issues, then he would, he would help.
Okay.
And furthermore, in terms of the enforcement and the implementation, I think he was going to, he made a statement that I wrote down at least, that you generally cannot deny a building permit because of a violation of a bylaw. So like that cannot be part of, like, so what happens then if a person takes, applies for a building permit, but then does not provide their tree plan? And so,
Some other.
yeah, and so,
I thought it was interesting that he said that because the other communities that have in their general bylaw are going through that same process.
Mhm.
Like they're not issued a certificate of occupancy without the tree mitigation plan having been approved by the tree warden. But if he says it's an issue, we'll figure it out.
so maybe I misunderstood, because
No,
I
no,
had the impression.
I heard the same thing, and I'm confused by that with how other communities have been able to do that. If that's
But I got the impression that it
general
was like
bylaw.
you're gonna get shut down. You're not even get to the point where you're asking for an occupancy permit. Because you're not gonna, we're saying you're not gonna get the building permit without the tree plan. And so the
How are you gonna
enforcement
get to-
would be to like stop building that if they, because they don't have a building permit. But if Chris is saying you can't not issue the building permit because they haven't provided a tree plan, then
What can you do?
what can you do?
That's a
Wait,
pretty
I
bad,
think-
it's a pretty big problem.
Oh, wait. But I agree, but I think in the process, we define that process of implementation. For example, let's say Kurt is going to do a development or, you know, there's a process, there's a demo permit, there's this, there's that. You know, you won't get a demo permit if with the demo permit, you need a mitigation plan. So I think there's steps that preclude for it to go all the way to the point where the house is built. You know what I mean? So there are a few steps before that that would probably require you to get that approved. So, you know, you won't get a demo permit if you haven't.
But
you-
It's like a
but that's what-
required application.
But that is
period.
different from a building
Building permit.
occupancy. It's building, you know, it's different. What he's saying is.
But he said
different.
building permit.
Right.
I think,
No, I think
he
he
said-
said occupancy.
We need. No, he just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so that was one thing.
I don't know, maybe this will have to be like Chris having a conversation with the town council and other communities. But that is the process, the other communities that have used their general bylaw, and if that's the route we're gonna go. I think it would behoove us to follow
Yeah,
their same line of thought if we're gonna try to keep this in general.
So I think that process, Josh also brought it up. That they discussed it when they were doing the stormwater bylaws, so I think that in of itself, it's a full discussion for this
Yeah.
committee later.
Okay. Okay, I just wanna make sure I didn't, there was another thing, pieces I missed at that meeting. Sorry, that's all I had. Sorry.
Do you wanna recap?
Oh, I think we were asking about
Yeah,
large
go
house.
what?
Were you asking him to talk about large house?
Do you have a few minutes or
Sure.
where are we at?
Well, we have our.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Everybody.
7 to 9. And that is. And it's gonna be our. Presentation of the fiscal impact. Which we have now from a third party consultant. And that has looked at. Two components of the value of the property and the impact of a potential reduction in house size on someone's property value if they would sell. And the transaction that we've been looking at is transactions with builders. So and the impact of that with several different reductions studied, so you can track. And again, there are many variables. So it's say that this is a definitive thing, but it's sort of an order of magnitude impact. So that's going to be helpful, I think, for people to see that, okay, if we make a house change this size or this size or this size, the adjustment of what the sale value would be to a builder would be, you know, impacted a little bit. And again, those numbers are somewhere between $17,000 and $92,000 on the sale value of the property. And that's what the adjustment would be to reduce the sale value of that property if reduction 1, 2, or 3 was implemented. So anyway, that's going to get presented to people, so they understand that. And then the other impact was, is there a tax revenue impact to the town on whatever the adjustment of a reduction would be? And of course, you're taking the assessed value of the sale value, which is 95% approximately, and then you see how much that change might be to a house, and then how many houses over a course of a year. And that's the delta of, you know, what could be built versus what would be built if it's slightly smaller. That's not to say that if it stays as a transaction sold to somebody and they just move in, then that's the same tax revenue. So it's basically increased tax base, I guess. It's just sort of the generator of how active towns might be. And so in other words, if a town is seeing a tremendous growth in their tax base, and maybe it's based on these residential transactions, the delta would be great if you see a lot of houses going from small houses to big houses, because all of a sudden there's this huge change in the assessed value of these properties, so there's a big bump in the tax revenue.
So if the lot is over 10,000 square feet. The FAR is 0.36. per
Well, it's
1,000
30,
square.
it changes from 38 to 36 at 12.
At 12,000, that's now. So these calculations were based on future FARs?
These are based on what we've been looking at doing, which is a reduction, several different levels of reduction. Which on order of magnitude, depending on the size of the lot, the adjusted size is slightly smaller on the smaller lots than it is if you were to go to the bigger lots. So it's roughly order of magnitude of somewhere between a 10-15% change to a 20 to 22% change to a 30 to 35% change. Those are the three ranges of change to the size. It's a reduction. So in other words, on a small lot in a reduction one, you know, you might get 10%. Larger lot, it might be 13%. And in the very little reduction. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds, but the point is we're gonna have a discussion of 3 proposed reduction formulas that are loosely based on that. And they're actually not that dramatic. We've taken out the lowest and the highest, and we focused on that sort of mid reduction range, and then we went a little high, a little low. So it's kind of a mid-range set of options to be considered and get feedback. So,
Is there a,
it's all- anyway,
just curious in terms of, so basically the committee's coming up with kind of like almost a recommendation.
we are going to give recommendations to the planning board that conduct instead of public hearing and
Okay.
make final decisions on
Mhm.
a change.
And has the change in terms of, so I get it from the homeowner's perspective, but from the builder's perspective, like what is the reduction in size due to their profit or their cost? I mean, is it obviously, you know, the reduction in size reduces their
Yeah,
profit.
It changes the math. So,
Yeah,
so,
more than the cost.
well, yeah, but so we, and, you know, there are many different ways developers are probably doing the math on this. So there was some discussion with several builders to come up with some basic assumptions about what would be a net target profit for them. And then based on that, back out what they would be able to pay for that lot
Okay.
now. And then if it was reduced to this or this, and so it's gonna come down at some point. So in the big picture, it probably does change it enough that on some smaller properties likely there will be fewer opportunities for a developer to do it because it may not make sense, and that just rolls it into the homeowner market. So it's, you know,
Hopefully that makes more affordable housing for people.
it just changes the ratio
Yeah.
of probably how many of these are going to the market, to the end user, and how many are going into you know, process with. So there'll be some adjustments there, but there's, you know, again, the point of the committee was the goal of the committee was to essentially figure out a way to adjust so that the houses of the lots are appropriate to the size of the houses are appropriate to the size of the lot.
Right.
And so we're not saying that you can't build a 5,000 square foot house. It's just they're gonna go on this size lot.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
these lots. So
Yeah.
it's just a question of where the town's level of interest is and
Yeah.
to, you know, adjust the.
Uh-huh.
So
Great.
it's good. We have data from other towns and so we can.
Okay.
Show the difference. Anyway, we'll see.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
We have a good turnout. Again, I think we're all concerned
I
about
think
it.
we're all concerned. I wonder how many people are there tonight.
It'll be recorded.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
All right, so I guess, can I have a motion to adjourn? Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Okay, thank you, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna